Chapter 24, Foreign Film. Let's get to The Artist from 2011, which is a French film. And I know I've been sort of lingering on European film for these recent chapters, which I apologize for. I do want to branch out more. And if there are any certain regions or countries you want me to cover soon, let me know through the Linktree info in the show notes, please. I would love to hear from you if you have suggestions. This one is directed by Michael Hazanavicius. Sorry if I said that name wrong. Stars Jean Dujardin, Bernice Bejo, John Goodman, James Cromwell, Penelope Ann Miller, a few others. And the synopsis is, when George, a silent movie superstar, meets Peppy Miller, sparks fly between the two. However, after the introduction of talking pictures, their fortunes change, affecting their dynamic. This one did win Best Picture at the Oscars that year. It really swept the Oscars to no surprise, considering the kind of movie that it is and what the Academy often looks for and likes. I was just getting into movies at this time, like studying movies, and I was about to go to film school. So it kind of came at the right time, right place. And I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times over the years. It is definitely one of those movies that I can, again, see why it won Best Picture, but wouldn't say it's deserving of all the movies that came out that year. Is what it is, but a little frustrating. I don't think it should have done as well as it did. It is very clever and well done and a very good homage to silent film. And anyone who has seen silent or just early classic film, you definitely will enjoy it. And I'm sure you'll see plenty of nods in terms of the acting styles at the time, the look of movies at the time, humor, action, like all that stuff. It's a very earnest homage, and I will always appreciate that about the movie. And I do really enjoy it. It's not a masterpiece to me. It's not Best Picture worthy, but it's still very enjoyable. And it does get more hate now because of how well it did at the awards. But as a movie itself, just watching the movie, there's a lot to enjoy there. And especially for any film lover. And really, I think that if you are unfamiliar or inexperienced with silent film, classic film, you could probably use this as a decent introduction into that world. Because if you just go and watch a silent movie after having only watched, big blockbusters over the last 10 years, probably won't immediately enjoy it. But maybe if you watch this one, this could be a good little segue into that. I don't know. But the movie itself, it does pick that perfect moment of how silent film stars, so many of them were from Europe oftentimes, and a lot of them didn't speak good English. And so when sound came along, some of them refused or couldn't speak English, refused to learn, and or like in this movie, they thought sound was crazy and was never going to work out. And then, of course, it did, as luck would have it. So that dynamic of the old and the new, Jean Dujardin's character rejecting everything, and then him meeting by chance Peppy Miller's character and her becoming a big star because she was all for sound and came right time, right place, and one shooting up while the other was shooting down. Like, it's a very well done, very real sort of dynamic that happened around that time with all sorts of people involved in the cinema world. So that really works for me. I think the movie looks amazing, and the tone and the little injections of sound with like his dream sequence where suddenly the whole world has sound, and all that is very, very clever, very well directed, good score. Like, you need good music, especially with silent film. If you know silent film, music was essential, and it had to be very, very effective because obviously you can't hear what anyone else is saying. There's not that acting and spoken word dynamic and emotional resonance. So you need good music to keep that momentum going, and the tone and all of that. So the music is excellent in the movie. The final dance sequence, perfect. Like, that is the classic sort of Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers dance sequence. I love that. And so clearly he has a true love and knowledge and passion for early film. Really, one of the only things that bring the movie down for me is George's, the main character's his decline where he's trying to get movies made in the sound era, but he wants to do silent films instead, him losing his money because of the stock market and getting rejected and this and that. It goes on a little long, and I think it gets a little repetitive in that last 20, 30 minutes where he's saying, no, no. And then there's a chance, oh, no, I'm not going to do that either. And people trying to reason with him. That goes on too long for me. Not horrible, and it's still entertaining, but there is a point where I'm starting to lose interest a little bit. I'm kind of ready for that final dance sequence. And I can't remember if my first viewing of it, I thought of that very much, but definitely on rewatches, that pacing, maybe it's the script, I don't know. But that part of the movie does drag a bit for me. But other than that, very good performances. Love Jean Dujardin. He's done a lot of great American films ever since this. Berenice Bejo, I saw her in A Knight's Tale. I don't think I've seen her in anything else. I think she's mainly done French movies, but she's awesome in this. John Goodman, really everybody is excellent, and they definitely have a good balance of paying homage, but also maintaining a sort of modern feel and making sure that modern audiences who may never have seen a silent movie before can kind of get into the feel of it without being ostracized. So that's another strong point to the writer director, because that's hard to do. You don't want to criticize or pander to lovers of silent early film, but you also don't want to completely talk down to the people who don't. So I do like the movie a lot. It is overrated. I don't know if I would say that necessarily, but it is still nevertheless very solid, very entertaining. Oh, quick thing, big thing. Star of the show of this movie is the dog. The dog is amazing. Love everything about it. Like where he saves him from the burning building. Like all that stuff is great. So enjoyable. Dog is great in this. So that is a heavy 4 out of 5.